Okay, we are going to talk about differentiation today. And in particular, differentiation instruction in the math classroom. So some of our learning goals, we're going to continue planning, teaching, and learning experiences to create a learning environment which promotes questioning, exploration, and problem solving, and also allows for individual differences in students. You're going to plan activities that embrace multicultural and diverse experiences. And through your service learning experience, you will demonstrate the ability to interact with young children and implement math lessons, which demonstrate the ability to individualize math towards each of your individual students. Okay, so differentiation and problem-based teaching. Problem-based teaching allows us to see the varying abilities in the children that we teach. And just like children's abilities differ in reading, they also differ in math. So designing instruction that meets each child is built into a problem-based instruction. So when we give children problem-based instruction, we can see how they think through things and how they figure out problems. And it definitely is a way to differentiate. So children approach problems in a variety of ways that make sense to them. So what are the nuts and bolts of differentiating instruction? It's an instructional approach that focuses on all children. There are 3 basic ideas. We want to plan lessons around meaningful content. We want to recognize that each child has different readiness, interests, and approaches to learning. And we want to connect content and learners by modifying the content, modifying the process, modifying the product, and modifying the learning environment as we need to. So how can we recognize children as individuals? How can we gather information on children's readiness and interests? We can have them take a learning profile inventory. And there's many different versions if you look online that are free. There's also a version in our text. How do we connect content and learners? So what is learned should be generally the same for each child. So we want to focus on the big idea and the standard, but when we differentiate, we want to figure out how can we help each child engage and make sense of the content in different ways. Also, what a child produces may differ, and how they share their ideas may differ. So this is where providing children with choice assignments could be a way to help us differentiate. And how can you modify the learning environment? Maybe seating arrangements, grouping strategies, access to material. These are things we think about. So parallel tasks are 2 or 3 tasks that focus on the same big idea, but offer different levels of difficulty. All children should be able to participate in a meaningful discussion with the whole group. Open questions are really helpful when we want to differentiate. Open questions mean that they can be solved in a variety of ways and have a variety of answers. And they also have a high level of cognitive demand. So some strategies to create open questions. So give the answer and ask for the problem. Replace a number in a given problem with a blank or a question mark. Offer 2 situations and ask for similarities and differences. Create a question in which children have to make choices. So you are going to be creating a learning center math boxes. So in math boxes, they provide tasks that can be repeated multiple times during one visit. They allow children to remain engaged until they are ready to transition. And any other benefits for using learning centers math boxes will come out as you see children interacting with their math boxes. So what is tiered instruction? Teachers use tiered activities so that all students focus on the essential understandings and skills, but at different levels of complexity, abstractness, and open-endedness. By keeping the focus of the activity the same, but providing routes of access at varying degrees of difficulty, the teacher maximizes the likelihood that each student comes away with pivotal skills and understanding, and each student is appropriately challenged. Here's a differentiated kindergarten tiered activity planning template. Again, what will the teacher do with the whole group to introduce the activity? What are the key concepts? What is the pre-assessment activity? And then where it differs is what will the students do? And you can see the 3 different tiers. You can also have 3 levels of challenges. So you can have green challenges, blue challenges, and black challenges. Again, you see the different levels of actually difficulties as you look at these challenges. So you could have a learning activity, and in the learning activity, you can have green cards, blue cards, black cards, or whatever colors you would like. And then the children know that these are the different levels of challenge. So when we talk about flexible grouping, there needs to be individual accountability when we do grouping. When one member of a small group asks a question, ask the other members of the group for their feedback. Teammates should be the first resource, and then teacher help is sought when the whole group needs help. And think about this idea of flexible grouping and how might this create a shift in your role as a teacher. You'll probably find that students become more problem solvers. And then you'll also find, and I know this from experience, that students aren't used to this approach. So their first instinct is to go to the teacher. But if you teach them that they can go to their peers and get assistance, this is a really valuable skill that can help them for a lifetime. It also teaches them about collaboration and teamwork. Okay, so for your service learning activity number 3, you're going to create a math station with at least 3 activities in the box. These activities should be appropriate to the child or children you are doing your service learning with, and of course they should be math activities. You're going to create a tiered lesson plan to go with your math lesson or station. You will need I Can cards, which we'll talk about, and they're basically writing standards in child-appropriate language of what children should be able to do. Also, you will want math talk cards, cards that can be used by children during the math activity. And for pre-readers, you can have pictures and words. And again, I'll show you a sample of this. So this is what math stations would look like in a classroom. And they would rotate. So students would be assigned with a partner or individually or with a small group. You can actually use them any kind of way. So you would say, okay, well, these students or this student will go to Math Station 6 today. And so all of the students would have stations out and they would all be learning different things or learning in different ways. So this is also a great way to differentiate. So here's an example one of my students they did before. So math I Can cards, they list I Can statements in kid-friendly language with pictures. So they had I can name my fruits, and this is what was for preschool. And then I can count how many fruits are in my salad. I can say my favorite fruit, and I can say the fruit's color. Again, for preschool. Those cards would be in the box, and the students could hold the cards. The teacher can scaffold and tell them the words that are in the box. The words that are in the cards. And then they can work with a partner and talk about their math activity. So math talk cards are basically the same thing. You would create cards in the station that would be open-ended, accountable math talk cards. Again, these can be used to help scaffold the activity. If the student, if this is pre-reading, you could actually do these also with pictures. So things like, what did you decide to blank? What would happen if, sorry. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and thank you very much.